Okay. So once you open that Excel file, EX1W1, you need to enable the editing, and my morning class was able to just edit right here. We didn't have to go to File, Save As, and save it. Okay, now number 1 on our list says know how to use an Excel template. Your test actually has 2 parts to it. The first part, you have to create a report using a template. I'm trying not to give away too much. And then the second part, you will actually create something. So we're going to work on this spreadsheet we have open here in just a minute. Right? Yes? You have to go into this class folder, not the one you created, the one I made for you. Put that in share with me. Go to Excel. And then it's the bottom. Okay, so we're going to go to File, New. And it will tell you you need to search for whatever kind of template. We're going to search for an expense report. So in this search bar, type in expense report. Now, something I need to tell you about this test is it's not step by step by step like the Word test. Word told you the color. Word told you the font. Word told you the size. This exam's a little different. It's going to say, find an expense report template and create this. It's very open-ended. You get to choose the expense report template you use. You just want to make sure it's like the one you need to use. We use this one right here in an assignment. And so that's the one we're going to use right now. This expense report, if you don't use it, that's fine. If you want to use the first one, in the test, you'll get to choose the expense report. I can't guarantee it's an expense report. But you need to know how to use a template. So then once you get your template open, it will tell you on the test, here's your company name and information, and you need to include that on the expense report. So there will be places to put that information on here. So it's important you know how to use a template. You will also have to insert a logo onto this template, which we talk about a little later in Excel, but it works the exact same way. Once this template's open, it's just an Excel spreadsheet. It's pre-formatted. Okay, go ahead and close this expense report. Just close it. Don't save. And you still have this EX1W1 open. So that was step number 1. Know how to use an Excel template. Number 2, insert a picture from the student data files. The logo will be on your data files. It's not there yet. I'm waiting until Monday to put it there. But it will be there, and I will tell you where that's located. For now, I want you to go to OneDrive. And in this Excel folder, go to Chapter 8. And let's open Olympics. Now, you don't have to actually open it to download it. We could just select it and choose download from right here. So either one of those ways is correct. I'm not sure why this is called Olympics, because it's a mountain. Maybe it's like the god Olympus. I don't really know. Does anyone know why there might be a mountain in a picture called Olympics? Olympics. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is the god Olympus, lives on the top of the mountain. But these are mountain goats. I don't know why it's called Olympics. Anyway, that's beside the point. I thought it was interesting. Click download. So whether you chose to look at the picture first or just select it with the radio button, choose download, click save. It saves into your downloads folder. Okay. Now you might be using Chrome and you don't actually click the save button. The minute you click download, in your status bar down here, it starts downloading it. It still saves into the downloads folder. in Chrome or Explorer. It doesn't matter which browser you're using. Now we can go back to Excel. In our taskbar right here, we can click back on the Excel document, worksheet. Click in cell G2, and we're going to insert this picture that we just saved to our data files. Click the Insert tab, choose Pictures, and we need to navigate to our Downloads folder. So on this left navigation bar, click Downloads, and it should be the only picture you have because our computers reset every night. And there we've put the picture into our Excel spreadsheet. Now, as soon as that picture is selected, we get a new toolbar, Picture Tools Format. And if the directions tell us to format the picture, and it might be very open like that, it might just say format the picture, you get to choose how you format it. If you just add a picture style, maybe that's format enough. Maybe you do a couple of things. You get artistic and you remove the background. Maybe you do 3 or 4 things. That's up to you, as long as you have changed the format from the original picture. So it's not going to tell you exactly how to format it. Does that make sense? Okay. Number 3 on our list says rename the sheet and color the tab. So right now we have sheet 1, and to rename it, we're going to just double click the word sheet 1 and retype it. Let's actually name it new sheet. And you right click on it to change the tab color. So tab color, change it to whatever color you choose. You will have to do that. You will have to add a new sheet, which to add a new sheet, we just click the plus. Let's go ahead and do that now. Click the plus for new sheet. So now we have new sheet and sheet 1. And we'll use this sheet 1 here in just a minute. So go ahead and make the new sheet active by clicking on it. Step 4, we're actually going to do kind of step 4, 8, and 9 kind of together. We're going to go to step number 8 first, and then 9, and then we'll come back up to our number formatting. So step 8 says sum and average functions. You need to know how to use both of those. So in row 8, in cell A8, let's type the word total. Press enter and type average, because we'll need to find the total and the average of each one of these. Now let's take a minute and look at our data here. This is a summary of special events and a sales report. So here are all of the events in column A, how many tickets were sold for each event, and the cost of each ticket. So sometimes it's important for us to know what it is we're looking at before we start putting all of our numbers in. Okay, in cell B8, if I need to find the total, I'm going to use the AutoSum function. It's not always the AutoSum, by the way. I just want you to be aware of that. This total is, because we're adding up all the tickets sold. So click AutoSum. Make sure that it's adding the correct range of data. Mine says B3 through B7, and that's correct, so I can just press enter. I'm going to make this a little bigger so you can see it better. And now I'm going to use my fill handle from B8. I just put the sum function in, and I'm going to drag that all the way across to cell D8. Even though there's no data in column D yet, there will be. So I'm going to go ahead and fill my formula over. And now we're going to find the average in cell B9. I'm just going to use the AutoSum, and I'm going to click the drop-down arrow next to it, and it's going to show my most recently used or most commonly used functions. I don't have to do it this way. I could type it equals average, opening parentheses, select my range, and press enter, but this way is quicker. So I'm in cell B9 and I'm clicking on the drop-down arrow next to auto sum and I choose average. Now, I want you to be aware that we do not include the total in our average. It's trying to right now. So if you do that, that is incorrect. There are a couple of ways to change this. I'm going to click in cell B3 and drag through B7. But if all you want to do is change the 8 that was here to a 7, that's okay too. You can retype that or you can click and drag. Now it's not going to tell you again what it is you're averaging. Well, it will say average the tickets sold, but it will not give you a formula. You have to know that range of data that you are using. So it's important that you understand what it is you're averaging. So ours is equals average opening parentheses B3 through B7. We can press enter. So we're averaging all of the tickets sold. Our total is not included in that. Now let's use our fill handle in cell B9 and fill it over through D9. And yes, I know it's giving us this error right at the moment, but it will be fixed once we put our other data in column D. This error, by the way, says you can't divide by 0, is what that means, because right now it's trying to divide by 0, and you can't. All right, so now we're going to look at cell D3. And this is step 9. It says know how to figure income, price times number of units sold. So here we're selling tickets for a specific price per ticket. So somebody tell me how I would figure this, just verbally. Just tell me what we would do. What? Yes, we would multiply. What would we multiply? Yes, B3 and C3. You're right. So we start our formula with an equal sign. We click in cell B3 or we type B3. And by the way, if you type it, that B does not have to be capitalized. It can be lowercase. The case does not matter. Times C3. So tickets sold times price. In this example, in the other example, it might look just a little bit different. But it's not going to tell you the formula or even what cell it needs to be in. It's just going to say, figure the income or figure the revenue. And you need to understand where those go because you will be creating the entire worksheet at this point. Okay, go ahead and press enter and fill that formula down from D3 down to D7. Notice our total and average in those columns automatically updated. That's the power of Excel. Okay, so we did step 8 and step 9. Now we're ready to go back up to step number 4. It will say to you to use the appropriate accounting method format. And I've talked about this and we've done it, but now I'm going to actually show you exactly what accounting method means. It means that the top row in our data will have dollar signs where they're needed. And then our total row will have dollar signs and also a line above and a double line below. So we're going to do that now. Do we need a dollar sign on tickets sold? No. Why? It's not a dollar value. It's a number. So please, please, please do not put a dollar sign just anywhere you see a number. Because it's not always the case. Tickets sold is going to remain whole. We can't sell part of a ticket, so we're going to leave this just the way it is, this whole column B. How about price? Do we need a dollar sign? Yes. And how about the total revenue? Yes. So let's select cells C3 and D3. And just click the dollar sign up in the Home tab and the Number Gallery, because that's the accounting method. In the accounting method, we do show our decimal places when we're dealing with money. Now we're going to look at this total row. We're going to select, and there are two things we need to do to it. We're going to select B8 through D8. And we're going to change the cell style, which is the format. So in the Home tab under Styles, click the More button. And we're going to choose Total. Now it doesn't format it with any kind of dollar signs. All it did was put our row above, our line above, our double line below, and it bolded that row. Now we need to add the dollar signs. So we're going to select C8 and D8. And we're going to choose our accounting number format. Now all of the rest of this data when we're dealing with money is going to be just using the comma style. So it says everything in between those two rows. So C4 through D7. These are the cells that are still talking about money, but we don't want them to have dollar signs. We want to use the comma style. And you've actually been doing this. The only thing different is we haven't had decimal places. In a lot of your assignments, they always round it to a whole number. And in true accounting, you always have the cents showing, even if they're always zero. So one of the things I'm going to look at, and I can't reach up there and touch it, but I will look to make sure these are aligned. The decimals are aligned. They're aligned on the right-hand side. If you choose another option, I'm trying to think of one. Notice how if I choose currency here and I have this is called a floating dollar sign. Do you see how they're not lined up over here on the right-hand side? I noticed that right away. My eyes go directly to it. And I would count off just because it's not consistent and professional. So you want to make sure that the inside numbers are using comma styles, your top row with money and your bottom total row with money have a fixed dollar sign, which is this dollar sign right here. Now, when you get down here to the average, every once in a while, the average function will format it for you just automatically. If it doesn't, then you just choose the accounting method. If it does, if it chooses that currency, because once in a while, it will choose currency and it ends up the floating, it's okay. I'm not going to count off for this. But we're using the dollar sign for accounting, so I would just use the dollar sign. So when you get down here, when it talks about average, there is no minimum or maximum. I included that in step 4, but on your test, there will be no minimum or maximum. You will just have the average, the sum, and then you have one of these where you're figuring income. Are there questions about this particular part, the number formatting? And we'll leave our tickets sold as whole numbers because we can't sell part of a ticket. I mean, I can't sell Anthony half of a ticket and Lindsay the other half of a ticket. Both of them would end up being angry with me because neither one would have a ticket. Okay, we're going to come back and fix this later. The next step is number 5, and it says to insert clip art. So I need to make this just a tiny bit smaller. Oh, that's interesting. Did you see what happened? As I minimized my screen, I get the number signs in here, meaning my cell is not big enough, but I haven't changed the size of my cell. I've just zoomed my screen in. Always something different. Okay, we're going to insert some clip art in cell A11, and it won't actually be in cell A11, it'll just be in this area. So let's click on the Insert tab and go to Online Pictures. Here's another one of those open-ended places. Let's search for city tours. It will tell you what you need to find a clip art of, and then you get to decide which piece of clip art you're using. So there won't be a specific one. It won't say specifically to use number 1, so you can choose one of these, whichever one you want. I'm going to choose the first one just because it's easy. Okay, and it might tell you format the clip art just like it did the picture. Something I want you to remember with pictures or clip art is that when you resize them, you always use one of the corner handles. Because if you don't, you will stretch it out of proportion. It will become tall and skinny, or it will become short and fat. Clip art, we could sometimes get away with it, but you definitely can't when you're talking about a picture. So you always use a corner handle to resize. You will not be given an exact size because it will just say, format your clip art, place it into the top right corner or something to that effect. So once you've put it in here, you can move it to wherever you want it to go. So I've resized it, I've moved it. Maybe I'm going to add a picture style. I always choose the same one because I like it. There are a lot of different things you could format. It's up to you. It's not going to be specific. It's not going to say add the rotated white picture style. It will not say that. It's not going to be like your Microsoft Word test. This is just going to say format the clip art. And you need to make some changes to that clip art to show me that you know how to format it. Doesn't have to be a lot of changes. Just make it look the way you want it to look. Okay, step number 6 says use formats to enhance the worksheet. Once again, it's very open-ended. Some of the ways you might format are using cell styles. So let's click in cell A1, and let's use a cell style for this data. By the way, this entire line is in one cell. It's in cell A1. So when we choose a cell style, it will only affect cell A1 and all of the entire line. I'll show you what I mean. So let's click the Home tab, and in the styles, let's choose the 20% accent 5. Now, it's not going to tell you what to choose. It's just going to say format. And now let's do another, and I want you to see when it's shaded, it just shaded cell A1. And we'll fix that in a minute, but I want you to be aware that that's a possibility. So back in cell A1, let's choose another style. We can add more than one of these. Let's choose title. So now it's affected the entire line, but still cell A1 is the only one shaded. I'm going to move my picture out of the way so you can see that better. So maybe what we should do is merge and center this so that that shading affects the entire cell. So let's select cell A1 all the way through H1. It's weird, my last class we had to go through I1. And then choose merge and center. Home, merge and center. All it did was make all of those cells one cell. So now they're all shaded. Yes?
Expanded the words.
Oh, really? You merge and centered in?
No, like I don't know how to do it. Like the summary, it just kind of like added a bunch of something.
Sorry, that shouldn't be funny, but it is.
No, it is. I don't know what I did wrong.
Okay, undo. Okay, so
You got it.
there you go. Now do merge and center. Did you maybe use that fill handle?
I think I did.
Okay, now click merge and center. Merge and center. There you go.
I think I used it.
Yeah, so maybe we were just seeing the SUMM for each cell. I was thinking of I don't know, there's a song or something that repeats itself. Okay. Another way that you could format is just by bolding or underlining or changing the font size, adding some borders, maybe some shading. You don't have to use a cell style. You could do all of those things yourself. Something else you might want to do, it's not required, but you can. Let's click in cell B2. You'll notice we can't see the entire line, ticket sold, and you could auto-fit your column. We're not going to. We're going to choose the wrap text. So in the Home tab, if you choose wrap text, it will actually put that ticket sold on 2 lines. So maybe you like the way that looks and you want to do that instead of making your column wider. Now, if you were to leave it like this, I would count off for this because this word is truncated. So be very aware of that. Now, I'm just telling you again, you could make the column larger so that it fits. That's not wrong. Or you could do what we just did and choose wrap text to make it 2 lines. Now select A2 through D2. We'll add another cell style. We'll format this row and use heading 3, just as an example. What it did was just bolded the text, changed the color, and added an underline on that row. I would consider this right here to be a formatted sheet. You've done several things to it. It's not crazy and out of this world. It looks very nice and professional, minus this clip art over here. And actually, this was created for another class, and we ended up adding more columns because it seems weird that this title goes all the way over and this doesn't. You might put this in 2 lines, for example. Your title probably won't be that long. Okay, step 7 says to insert text as word art. You would click, let's go down here to cell D23. Click the Insert tab, and on the far right, you'll find word art. Now, it might look different than mine does. I know that every single computer shows this just a tad bit different. Some of you might actually see some of these in a little box. Some of you, this little A is really small, and there are like 4 to 6 items right here. So just choose the drop-down arrow next to word art and choose one of these. Doesn't matter which one, because you'll get to choose. I'm going to choose the one with the reflection. So I get this text box that shows up with word art. I can type in it. Let's type your first and last name. It will tell you, like, put the title in word art, something to that effect. I should have brought a test over with me. I can't remember exactly, but what? And then it might tell you to format the word art. So as soon as you create it, you get this new toolbar that shows up. Please just remember that the shape styles deals with the box, and the text styles, the word art styles, deal with the actual text. So if it tells you to format it and you just add a shape style, you're good. That's formatted. Now, you might want to make it look more professional than I just did, but I would want it to match. And then I'm going to select my text. I'm going to click and drag through my text and choose something over here from the text area. Maybe, I don't know, this isn't professional. I'm just telling you now. Maybe I add that yellow glow. Then you would move it to wherever you need it to be. So once you insert your word art, you can actually format it as well and move it around. Okay, we're ready for step number 10 already. It says to create a column chart. It will tell you the information that should be in your chart, so be sure that you select the correct data. Oh, we need to back up just a little bit. Back to the formatting the worksheet, sorry. I did it on tickets sold, but I didn't tell you, look at column A, these events. Do you see how they're all truncated? We want to be able to see those. If I double click on the boundary between A and B, the column headers, see it works on this computer. On my laptop, it made my column A huge. Did it yours? I mean, it made my column A like this big. But on this computer, it worked. So auto fit. If you don't auto fit, you can click on the boundary between the two and just drag it and make it whatever size you want it to be. Make sure I can see all of the numbers. If you get the little number signs in the cell, you need to make those larger. Okay, my reason for telling you that is because when we create the column chart, what we're creating for this one is we're going to show all the events and the totals for those events. So let's select A3 through A7. Hold down your control key and select D3 through D7. Remember that control key is used to select non-adjacent cells. So A3 through A7, hold down your control key after you've selected those and select D3 through D7. And then let go of your mouse and then let go of your control key. And we have both columns selected. Now click on the Insert tab. And this tells us a column chart. So click the drop-down arrow, and if it just says a column chart, which by the way it does, it says Insert a column chart, you get to choose which column chart you're using. So if you want a 3D column chart, you can. It's up to you as long as it shows the data correctly. I'm going to choose the very first one just because it's simple. So here's our data. It's telling us our events down here at the bottom and the amount of those events. And our chart title, which we would want to change, that would show our sales report, event sales report. So let's change that chart title to event sales report. I don't really feel like this chart gives enough information for us to really know what's going on. I would like to see maybe some actual numbers on it. Maybe. I could go to Quick Layout and I could choose one of these other layout options on our Chart Tools Design tab that came up. I kind of like this one. If I had this one, I wouldn't need that little legend that says Series 1, but I could delete that. So I'm going to choose this one just to show you. I like this one. It gives me each event and it tells me the value with each event. Now I can click this little legend that says Series 1 and I can just delete it. I don't want it anymore. I can remove it because it really doesn't add any value to the chart. I could also change each one of these bars. Remember, if we click one, it selects all of them, and I could change all of the colors at once, or I could change each one separately if I chose to. So I clicked it once, and it selects them all. If I click one again, it selects just the one. And I could go through and change each bar color. Maybe each event has a different color associated with it. Now, it's not going to tell you specifically what you need to do. It's going to say, format the chart. So you need to know to be able to do some of these things. Don't just leave it exactly the way you have it right here. If you deleted that legend, if you changed to the quick layout, I would count that. But if you just have the basic chart that showed up and you didn't make any changes to it, I'm going to count off a few for that because you didn't expand on that formatting. Okay, now we're supposed to move the chart. It says move the chart to a new sheet and rename that sheet. So select the chart, the boundary around the edge, and on the Chart Tools Design tab, click Move Chart at the far right. And choose New Sheet. And we're going to name that sheet right here. If you don't name it here, it's okay, you can do it later, but we're going to do it right here. Instead of Chart 1, we'll just name this Event Sales. Event Sales is the name of our new sheet. As soon as we click OK, might take a minute, our chart appears on its own sheet. So now we have 3 sheets in our workbook. Event Sales, New Sheet, and Sheet 1. Okay, the next step is step 11. It says copy one worksheet to a new worksheet. There are 2 ways to do this. I'm going to show you both ways. Let's click on New Sheet and make it active, because that's where we've been working. The first way we could do this is by right-clicking on the word New Sheet and go up to Move or Copy. And we would want to copy this to our Sheet 1, because Sheet 1 has nothing in it. Remember, we made that new sheet. Choose Sheet 1. Now say Create a Copy. If you don't choose Create a Copy, it will just move this sheet. There will be nothing on New Sheet, And now sheet 1 will have the data. But it says to make a copy. Copy one worksheet to a new one. Now click OK. Oh, and it went ahead and created another new sheet. It was supposed to go to sheet 1. That's okay. We made sheet 1 earlier. So now we have new sheet, our original one, and we have a new sheet 2, and it's just a copy of that sheet. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, we can do it the way we did it earlier, and we can just select the data we want to move and copy it and paste it. Just a normal copy and paste. So we would select, copy, click on the sheet, paste, and there is our information. When we do that, our columns don't come in at the same size, so we would have to go in here and auto fit these to make sure we could see everything. Okay, now we're going to look at number 12, and I know that you know how to add a footer, and really that's not, we're going to do 12 and 13 kind of together. And I'm going to show you both of these, and I will guarantee that half of the computers in this room actually close out of Excel and reopen. It will just close down, and I don't understand why it's been doing it since Office 2013 came up to be in existence. Click on File and go to Print. Something I wanted to show you, okay, under Settings, where it says Print Active Sheets, choose Print Entire Workbook. The first sheet is our chart. The second sheet is our original new sheet. Now, what I want you to notice is you see what happens? It will just take off, it'll cut it wherever the margin is, and it will put that on a second sheet. So here's this sheet, and then here would be the other sheet that prints. Well, we need to actually print this to one page. So where it says no scaling, over here on the left-hand side, click this drop-down arrow and say fit sheet on one page. So now it fits on one page. And we would need to do that on both of these. Print fit sheets on one page. And it will do it on the chart, obviously, is already on one page. Okay, make sure you're not on the page 1. Be on either page 2 or page 3. From this area, and you're not going to print, even on your test you won't print, but you need to make these print preview changes, because when I go to open your file, they will still be there like this. So I can look at your print preview and make sure you've done these things. Click Page Setup. Choose Header Footer. Now choose Custom Footer. In the left section, just type your name. It will tell you what to put in your footer. Tab over to the right section. And insert the file name. That's this green X. And click OK. And OK again. That footer should show up, and it didn't. You have to do that on. In Office 2010, when you would when you go to Print Preview and choose Print Entire Workbook, when it would pull up, it would put it on all pages. So now you would have to put it on each sheet. However, when you are putting a footer on your chart, your computer will freeze. The majority of them, this has been happening. I don't understand it. There is another way to do it, but I'm going to modify in your exam. I'm going to have you not put a footer in the chart. It will just be on your worksheets. But let me show you what happens and why I'm making that change. Click Page Setup again. Choose Header Footer. Custom Footer. Once again, just put your name. It really doesn't matter. And what I'm getting ready to show you. As soon as I click OK here, watch it not do it now. This morning, I warned them in advance, and sure enough, all but maybe 2 computers. Nope, this one worked. How about you? Nope. Did it shut this whole thing down and now Excel is restarting? You got a little error message? Yeah. Okay, so it's like, I would love an explanation about why one computer will work and room of 40, you know, we're only got 2 that work. Yeah, you can say, it doesn't matter, you can say no, because we're not saving it. And it does try to recover, but we're not going to. I'm going to actually remove that from the test, so you will not have to, it's on the test, I've already printed all the copies, but you will not have to put a footer on your chart. You will need to make sure it's on all of the other worksheets, so you have to scroll through each page and make sure you have a footer on all of those worksheets except your chart. So are there questions about any of the 13 items on this list? I am telling you, I created the test. I went through the test top to bottom and just started typing this list. So what you see on here is how the test will look. The difference is from your word exam is that it's very open-ended. So that's the part that's going to get people the most. So I don't want you to say, how am I supposed to format this? And I'm going to say, you get to decide that. So you know that today. So you shouldn't have that question come Monday. You do just have one class period to get it done as well. Okay, go ahead and close out. Don't have to save it. Say don't save it if it asks you to. Have a very good weekend.